Hi everybody, welcome to the third video in the series, Making Peace with Our Past. So today I want to talk about the challenge of forgiving ourselves. So many people say, and you might have said it yourself, that it's easier to forgive other people for wrongs they've done to me than for me to forgive myself for wrongs I've done to somebody else. And that might sound virtuous, and it might sound like a good thing. But the reason it sounds that way is because the ego mind believes that if it can hold on to negative feelings like guilt or shame, that those negative feelings will help curb your behavior in the future. So it's going to prevent you from doing the same thing later if it can make you feel bad and hold on to it forever. That's why it seems to be virtuous. But it's not virtuous. Actually, it's kind of lazy. When we define ourselves and our relationship with somebody else based on something that happened a while back, some wrong that was done, and we define ourselves as the bad guy and them as the victim and us as powerful and them as powerless, when we define ourselves that way and we lock ourselves in, what we're really saying is we are not growing from this. We are not changing it. This relationship will always be defined this way, and we're putting our foot down. We're not going to even work toward this any longer. We're just going to stay where we are forever, which is in spiritual journey talk, that is always being lazy. So let me give you an example from my own life. I was raised in the South and was very aware of racism and oppression, especially for people around me, but also from my ancestors. Okay, so I have carried with me for a lot of my adult life this feeling of guilt and shame because of where I come from, because I'm white and I'm Southern, right? So I carry that with me. I have carried that with me. Well, one day I was volunteering in a place and I had a woman of color come to me for spiritual direction. And I was very distracted by the fact that I felt guilt and I felt shame and I wondered how she felt about me and all this stuff. So I brought that to my spiritual director, that I was struggling with that. And she challenged me about why I was still carrying around guilt and shame. And my automatic response was, well, of course it's good to feel this way because this is all very bad stuff. It's still going on. Somebody should feel bad about this. And I'm going to feel bad about this. And she asked me again, but how does this make the world a better place? How are you making the world better by carrying your guilt and shame? And I realized I wasn't. In fact, I was not bringing my A game to this lady because I was triggered by my guilt and shame. I wasn't engaging her as a fellow soul on a spiritual journey. I wasn't offering her my presence or my compassion or my fullest gifts because I was blocked by this guilt and shame. I was stuck in a pattern of thinking about myself and about her that prevented both of us from being our full selves together. So it might seem obvious, but that was a moment of revelation for me when I realized carrying the guilt and shame was an impediment to me doing my work in the world. It is an impediment to you as well. It does not serve the person who you once wronged or feel like you've wronged. It doesn't serve you to always see them as the victim or to see yourself as the bad guy. That implies that you're both just two-dimensional people who never get to change or grow. Instead, think about who you are now, how you've grown, how you've learned, release the guilt of it and learn the lesson of it and integrate that. And that becomes your power in the world. Not that you still feel bad, but that you have grown in a way that increased your wisdom and your compassion and your maturity. And you also want to look at the other person as someone who is capable of healing and growing as well. When you hold on to the dynamic of feeling sorry for somebody or bad for somebody, you're basically helping them live forever in the role of victim. They are not victims. They have power, but it's really easy for us humans to deny our power and to just live inside of a particular identity. So don't help somebody to stay in their place of powerlessness or victimhood by agreeing to that dynamic. You break the dynamic. You pull out of it and become a full person, knowing that they have that same capacity. Have faith in them, that they can recover and be powerful and strong on their own, given the space to do so. And don't be a party to them being stuck, for you being stuck or for them being stuck. No one needs to be stuck in the spiritual journey. We all have crazy amounts of power we haven't even begun to explore. So let's focus on that instead of what happened 20 years ago. See you next time. Bye.